Hi, I'm Amy Whalen and welcome back to Table Flipping Housewife. I have had the most glorious weekend because it was beautiful weather and I had ample time to work on two separate projects. It was so much fun. One of them being the end tables behind me. Now, I picked these up a few weeks back from Facebook Marketplace for $20 a piece. And when I went to pick them up, the address was for a flooring company. No, this was no flooring company. I don't know what that was a front for. So I just bought these pieces and I screamed out of there. It was creepy, but I was very excited to find them because for some reason it took forever to find matching end tables. I think these have great structure. They're uber functional with the drawer at the top and the cabinet at the bottom. There's a removable shelf inside the cabinet at the bottom. But what's really interesting is that they have an electrical component to it. There's a cord that runs out the back that you plug into the wall, and then right at the very top of both of these pieces is a panel that has a USB port so you can charge your phone, as well as two electrical outlets that you can use for your bedside lamps, or if you're using these next to your sofa for a sofa lamp. Super, super functional. Now, there is damage on it at the top and at the bottom of this piece, so I will need to paint the whole thing. But I'm uber excited to be trying out Melange paint for the first time. This is a mineral paint that is produced out of Texas by a husband and wife. It's a little cottage industry they run out of their home. And I've seen a lot of YouTubers use this paint and sing its praises, so I'm super excited. This is a glorious color called Restorative Bronze. I do plan on using a paintbrush to apply it because I want to feel the texture of it. So let's get started cleaning these things up and making them beautiful again. I used mineral spirits and a fine steel wool pad to thoroughly clean the two pieces of furniture. You need to make sure any furniture polish or anything grime or greasy is removed in order to have good paint adhesion. But I'm also using the mineral spirits because someone used a waxy brown furniture crayon to try to cover up this gouge, and I need to make sure that's completely removed for the same reason. Once the pieces were cleaned and dried, I then mixed up some Bondo in order to repair the damaged areas. Bondo is a two-part epoxy material. Once you mix the two elements together and have a uniform color, you have to quickly move because this dries fast. So because this was a beveled edge, it was a little challenging, but I'm using a popsicle stick to glop it on. And then you'll see I use a putty knife in order to try to smooth it out and recreate that original shape. I then did the same thing for the corner of the other piece, but by that point my Bondo had started to dry. So I scraped it off, mixed some more Bondo, and used the putty knife to reshape that corner. It dries quickly, and so once it was completely dried, I then started to sand with my Surf Prep sander to, again, recreate the shape that was originally there. Once I did that for both pieces of furniture, I used a 220 grit sandpaper block to scuff sand. These two items have kind of a shiny coat, and you need to make sure you remove that shiny coat in order to make, in essence, teeth for your furniture paint to stick to. I even took that opportunity to use a sand block and my hand to make sure everything was smooth. Once everything was dusted off, I brought it outside to use a clear shellac-based primer. I'm not worried about bleed through, but I did want to make sure that all the bondoed areas and the areas that I had sanded down, I want to make sure that those are sealed with a shellac-based primer. I realized I wasn't wearing my respirator, so I went inside to get it. I ended up putting that clear primer over the entire surfaces of both pieces. Once it dried, I took a 220 grit sandpaper and lightly sanded the primer. That too has a shiny finish, and you need to lightly sand it to, again, create some teeth for your paint to adhere to. Once I scuff sanded, I then wiped it off with a tack cloth and brought it inside to paint. If you like the content so far, please be sure to subscribe to my channel before you go. And leave me a comment because I love reading them and I do reply to every single one. All right, so I have cleaned this. I have scuff sanded it. I have replaced and built up the broken areas with Bondo, sprayed those areas and the raw areas with shellac-based primer in clear, and then lightly sanded that as well. So now we're ready to paint. I'm going to use my new favorite, my palm brush by Zebra. And if I need to, I've got my square brush by Zebra. So let's go. Look at this color. Oh gosh, that is just beautiful. All right, here we go. It's nice. It's nice and creamy, kind of like how I felt about Fusion paint. Goes on very nice. Okay, wow. All right, so I'm gonna put it on and then I'm gonna smooth it out. Oh, it feels really good. I like that. The color kind of reminds me of when our babies were eating rice cereal for the first time and we would mix spinach in it. Horrible thing to consume, but a beautiful color to paint with. Okay. What I'm learning when I'm using an angled brush, I have to be careful to put it straight up against the edge. Otherwise, it leaves a rough mark at the top. For instance, if I did this, you would see that. So you have to go straight up like that. Of course, after all the scuff sanding and the sanding of the Bondo and whatnot, and the sanding after the shellac-based primer, of course, I wiped it down with the damp rag, and then even with a tack cloth. I love the feel of this paint. The coverage is very good. We'll see what it looks like when it dries. I fully anticipate needing at least 2 coats, if not 2.5. I really like this. And from what I can tell, it appears to be self-leveling as well, very nicely. You hear me say that a lot. What is self-leveling? That means that once the paint is applied, it levels out, it smooths out, and you don't see those brush strokes. That's why I add water to chalk paint to make it take a little bit longer to dry, to hopefully smooth out or level out those brush stroke marks. That's what level out means. Now, I, for the life of me, could not figure out how to remove this drawer, so I'm just going to do the best I can while it is intact. I don't intend to paint the inside of this piece. I'm going to keep that the dark brown finish. I like to paint off the edge as opposed to this way, because then paint pools at the bottom, or on the side rather. So I like to go off the edge like this and then smooth it out. Oh, this is just lovely. Yummy.
look at the first coat of this paint. It looks pretty doggone good. So I just finished doing some little touch-ups here and there, but guys, I am a huge fan of Melange paint. The coverage is amazing. I only put 2 coats of paint on these and then the little touch-ups today, and that's all I needed. I was a little concerned that this jar wouldn't be enough, but it was. That's how great this coverage is. Now I have just enough left in here to put some in this little container as a touch-up paint sample for whoever buys it. But all that I need to do now is take these outside, spray a top coat on them, and then they're ready to go.